A really structured English learning episode.
And it's all focused on discipline and time management.
Right. So our mission for you, the listener, is pretty surgical today.
It is. We're not just here to study the language itself. The goal is to extract the underlying philosophy,
The mental framework.
the framework, and the specific linguistic tools that this approach uses. We're analyzing the direction that's being given.
Because that direction could apply to learning anything, really.
Any skill acquisition, exactly.
So this is about way more than just language rules. It's about reverse engineering a perfect productivity model. How can you, even with a crazy schedule, guarantee you're making progress?
And what's so fascinating right from the start, pulled straight from the source material, is that the core message is all about discipline and daily effort.
Daily effort, not, cramming for 8 hours on a Sunday.
No, the whole approach is engineered to strip away that feeling of being overwhelmed.
By avoiding pressure.
Exactly. It focuses on the consistency of the input, making small, manageable daily actions the engine of all progress.
So that's the key takeaway right at the top.
It has to be. Consistency is always superior to intensity.
Because intensity leads to burnout.
It's just unsustainable. And that's a really powerful psychological distinction to make.
I love that framing. Intensity breeds burnout. Consistency builds momentum. That actually brings us right to the emotional architecture of this whole thing. The source material says the speaker is a mentor-like speaker. It sounds like an older friend who truly wants the best for you.
Which is very intentional.
It has to be, right?
Yeah.
Why is that specific sort of non-academic tone so effective in a learning context?
It's just brilliant psychological engineering, really.
How so?
Well, think about it. When a learner is struggling, they often feel, judged or inadequate.
Right, like they're failing a test.
Exactly. So by adopting this caring, honest, and motivating tone, the speaker just instantly lowers the listener's defenses.
That's not a power dynamic.
Not at all. It's built on trust.
Yeah.
And the source material points out this shifts the whole feeling of the exercise from, a frustrating textbook interaction to a real conversation.
A conversation about self-responsibility.
And about your own goals.
I can see the value in that, dropping the intimidation factor. But here's a question for our audience who are, focused on mastery.
Okay.
If the goal is self-discipline, doesn't avoiding all pressure sometimes stop a learner from pushing past a plateau?
That's a great point. And the source material actually addresses this by defining the relationship.
Oh.
It says it is not about pressure. It is about direction.
Okay. So the accountability isn't external, it's internal.
Precisely. The mentor gives you the roadmap, but you, the learner, have to choose to follow it.
And by framing it all in simple English, the episode pulls off this brilliant meta strategy.
It really does. You're learning two things at once.
Time management and the language itself.
And if the language used to talk about discipline is clear and simple, the concept itself is just easier to internalize and easier to act on.
That makes perfect sense. The tone is a tool for accessibility.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the mindset. Let's pivot to the action plan.
Let's do it.
Before we even talk about time, what are the big psychological traps this approach is designed to shut down immediately?
It goes right after the classic triad of progress killers.
Which are?
Procrastination, of course, fear, and that paralyzing idea of waiting for the right time.
We've all been there.
Oh, absolutely. We delay doing anything meaningful because we think we need, a perfect 2-hour block of focus?
Or we're just scared of making a mistake. The perfect moment never, ever arrives.
It never does. And the solution they offer is just the power of small daily actions.
This is the core metric, isn't it? The source gives a specific, measurable number that should be incredibly motivating.
It's the game changer. Even 10 minutes a day can fundamentally change your progress.
10 minutes.
Let's really dissect the psychology of that. A 10-minute commitment.
It sounds almost too simple.
It does. But if you tell yourself you need, say, an hour or even 30 minutes, your brain immediately starts finding excuses. It's that internal resistance kicking in.
The 10 minutes.
10 minutes is it's non-threatening. It's almost too small to argue with.
So the source is implying the goal isn't really the volume of learning.
No.
It's just overcoming the inertia of starting.
You've nailed it. That's a huge strategic shift. It moves the whole conversation from effort maximization to start maximization.
Start maximization. I like that.
When you commit to just 10 minutes, you're guaranteeing you'll be consistent.
And if you think about compounding returns, that small, consistent exposure builds strength over time. 10 focused minutes every day is just astronomically better than 2 hours of cramming once a week.
Because the first one builds a permanent, reliable habit, and the second one just leads to burnout.
So the goal is to build a reliable trigger for showing up.
Precisely. The source material really emphasizes that this whole discussion is about building consistent routines, habits, and personal responsibility.
And 10 minutes is the perfect anchor for that habit.
It's the perfect duration. The consistency becomes the real achievement, and the language learning is just a very rewarding byproduct.
Okay, so we have the emotional and strategic architecture. Now, what about the specific language tools they're using to build it all? The source says the language is curated for ease of understanding to build listening confidence.
Right, and this is where the motivation meets the linguistics. It's very deliberate. They're curating the language for high utility and low cognitive load.
And we extracted 2 key lists of language elements from the source.
We did. The first list is what we're calling the productivity vocabulary.
These are the key nouns that frame the whole discussion around success.
Yes. So you see words like time, habit, focus, routine, discipline, and progress.
And it's not just that they're simple words.
No, there's an intentionality there. These words have a high emotional resonance. They are the essential vocabulary of self-improvement.
So when the listener repeats these simple English words,
They're practicing vocabulary that is immediately useful for internalizing that motivational message. It's high-utility vocab applied to a universally valuable topic.
okay, and the second list, that one focuses on the self-discipline expressions.
These are the action verbs, the imperative phrases that drive behavior.
Right, the simple declarative phrases we mentioned.
Things like show up, be consistent, don't wait,
They're short, easy to remember.
and often presented in an imperative mood, making them easy for a learner to internalize and use right away, like action happens now.
Let's get granular on the grammar, because this was a core strategic choice. The heavy reliance on the simple present tense. It's usually the first tense a learner masters, but why is it so much better than, say, using future conditionals for giving advice?
Oh, this is the genius of the structural design. A conditional phrase like, if you could be consistent, you might see progress.
Which leaves room for doubt.
Exactly. It's theoretical. It's passive.
Mm-hmm.
But the simple present tense is the tense of permanent facts. It's like a universal law.
So when the mentor figure uses it,
And says,
yeah,
you are consistent. You show up. Progress is made. It shifts the listener's identity. It makes the advice feel like an undeniable truth.
not a conditional recommendation.
Right. It's not a suggestion rooted in some uncertain future. It's a declaration of what is true about the process right now.
That's incredibly powerful for building confidence.
It is.
Can you give us an example of how all these elements, the vocabulary, the grammar, all merge together?
Sure. Think about the combined effect. Short, motivational sentences with lots of repetition. They might use a sentence like, the habit is important, or discipline builds progress.
Simple subject-verb structure.
And that high utility vocabulary is placed right inside that declarative framework. You show up for 10 minutes. By using the simple present, the mentor roots the action in your identity.
And the source specifically says the listener is encouraged to repeat key lines.
Which solidifies both the linguistic structure in your short-term memory and the motivational message in your long-term sense.
It's a closed feedback loop.
A very efficient one. The language helps the motivation, and the motivation makes you want to repeat the language. The whole structure is designed to just minimize friction.
So if we synthesize all of this for you, the learner, what does it all mean? This deep dive really shows us that this highly effective learning tool works because it is built on a kind of radical respect for your time and your goals.
Absolutely. By focusing on that high-impact, short-duration input, that magical 10-minute rule, it just drastically reduces resistance.
It's immensely practical. And maybe most importantly, it's profoundly confidence building.
And if we connect that to the bigger picture, the ultimate lesson here is that meaningful action has to happen now.
Not later.
Not later. Waiting for the right time is just a sophisticated form of procrastination.
So using these short, focused routines, the 10 minutes of consistency, that's the key to making real progress.
Even when your schedule feels completely impossible.
We've broken down the tone, the simple present tense, the strategic vocabulary. We've analyzed how the structure drives action. So here's the perfect question for you to think about for the rest of your day.
This really raises an important point. How can you apply this exact linguistic blueprint?
Using the simple present tense, the high utility discipline words.
How can you apply that to frame any new skill you want to learn?
It could be professional goals, a fitness routine, a new creative hobby.
What is one specific, non-threatening habit you can define right now using that simple present tense that requires just 10 minutes of commitment today?
Because the power of the method lies in the consistency of that small commitment. That is the perfect thought to leave you with. The architecture of discipline is universal. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into how the shortest commitment can yield the longest lasting results.
Keep seeking those profound, high-yield aha moments. We'll talk to you next time.